Vicky Marie, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy, batshit crazy world that we live in. And tonight we're going to talk about Hugh Edwards because, because we are. No, but we're going to talk about how he's got away with, apparently it doesn't matter if you have indecent images of children on your phone, not if you're a TV presenter. You can just get away without a prison sentence because you can. Apparently it's supposed to be 3-year sentence for having indecent images of children on your phone, but not for Hugh. Not for Hugh Edwards. No, 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 no. So there you go. If you're a BBC presenter, it's one law for you, one law for everybody else by the look of it. Okay, so I just want to say I brought this forward. I was going to be an hour later tonight. I like to go a bit later sometimes in the evening, just catch some of my Australian viewers getting up in the morning. But I had a cancellation for classes, and I thought I'm going to do the live earlier because I am a little bit tired. Monday's a long day, isn't it? Always, but I've quite a lot of classes on a Monday, so I thought I'd do the live a little bit earlier. Hopefully, people can catch up if they can't manage to make the live. And if they're interested in hearing about what's happened to Hugh Edwards, they can catch up. So, shut up. This dog has always got to get the attention. What you doing? What you doing? Anyway, so I'm going to have a nice early night tonight, I think, for me. I'm going to go to bed early and, we're going to... I'm going to have an early night and then be bright and bushy-tailed in the morning. I'm just not an evening person. I wish I was. I should have had a nap earlier, but I didn't get a chance to get a nap. Sometimes if I've had a nap, I can stay up a bit later. But honest to God, unless I'm out, when I'm out, I can stay out all night. But, when you're in the house, you just start to get tired, don't you? And it's getting dark now and I just going to have an early night. But anyway, thank you. Thank you for everyone for being subscribers, for liking, for watching, for being my members, for supporting my channel in any way. Oh, and I've had some lovely photos and videos today of animals. We're doing the pets thing next year. So next month. So don't forget, if you've got any photos of your pets to send me. Or they don't, or any animals. Sometimes people send me photos of animals that visit their gardens, etc. Anything like that always makes my day to get those photos. I'm going to put them all together in a video. We're going to watch it in October, and we're going to have a quiz about pets or animals, a fun quiz, and we're going to have a fun evening in about the first week of October. So thank you. Carry on sending the pictures. Send them to my email, and send them to my email. I'll put it in the chat actually. Can you hear? I know it does sound like a kettle boiling, David. She just likes to. She can't photobomb me because I'm not on the avatar. But if I wasn't on the avatar, she'd be, getting her face on camera. She likes to do that, doesn't she? She'll probably be barking. No doubt the Chihuahua will be out and about shortly. I know there'll be a load of barking. Okay, let me take my banner off. So yes, send the photos of your pets or any animals or anything animal related to make us all, cheer us all up. We'll need it in October, won't we? So I brought this forward an hour. I might have caught some people out, but anyway, that's how it is. So this is who we're talking about. Let's have a look at, oh my God, have you seen his mugshot? Ooh. Yeah. Joe, you see him in a completely different light now, don't you? I've been watching Hugh Edwards for years. And I've enjoyed watching him. I thought he was a good newsreader. Didn't really watch the things he did about the church and this, that, and the other. But it turns out he's just not at all the person that everybody thought he was. And I've got a photo somewhere of his ass. You know, when all this came out, this photo was circulating around, I don't know, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And now I know I've got it somewhere, and I actually did upload it to the channel, to the members. I put it on a community post. And can I find it? No, I can't find it. So it's a picture. You're probably glad that I can't find it. You probably don't want to see Hugh Edwards' ass. You know, it's obviously a photo that he sent to one of his paramours. It's him, like, you know, with his trousers down and just wearing a shirt, with his back to the camera, all coquettish, showing his ass to whoever, you know, he was flirting with. I fancy doing that. But he had his face turned to the camera, so you could tell it was Hugh Edwards. I mean, is he mad? You know, it's amazing, isn't it, how people just throw caution to the winds. You know, he's a famous person and he's sending ass photos to people probably that doesn't hardly know with his face on them. You know, because he's all like, oh, suggestive, turning around to the camera. Why did he do that? You know, it's obvious that sooner or later he's going to get blackmailed by someone if he keeps sending photos of his bum to people. You know, it's just like, just crazy, you know, what he did, the chances that he took. So Hugh Edwards, he had it all, didn't he? He's got he had a wife. They're divorced now. I think she's left him now. He had a wife. I think he's got 5 children. Really good job, you know, earning about £400,000 a year. One of the best paid people in television. And he's just thrown it all away because he was, you know, collecting child porn on his phone. So not only, because when it all first came out, of course, people were saying, oh, you know, well, he's not doing anything illegal, because apparently the very young man that it first came out, he was exchanging photos with. Of course, he was over the legal age. So although, you know, Hugh Edwards is 60 years old or whatever, and this boy was in his early 20s, some people didn't seem to think that was too bad, you know, even though there was a 40-year age difference. To me, that's still bad. But anyway, wasn't illegal. And then, of course, it turns out, you know, that was kept all hush hush, wasn't it? Hugh Edwards was sort of removed from our screens, you know, very surreptitiously. And it was said, his wife said, oh, he's been a bit depressed lately, as if being homosexual is a mental illness. It's not a mental illness. You know, he is either homosexual or bisexual, and he should own it. So, you know, he shouldn't be, you know, going out there making programs about all holier than thou, about churches and this, that, and the other, and presenting himself as Mr. Prissy Perfect Hugh Edwards. You know, just be who you are. So that's why I'm angry with him. I don't care if he's gay or if he's bisexual or what he is. I literally do not care. I do care if he's got pictures of children on his phone, of course. That's a whole nother thing. But it's the hypocrisy, you know, isn't it? I think that's what people will never get over with Hugh, is the hypocrisy. And then when he went into some rehabilitation centre, as if, you know, being gay or being bisexual is something that you can cure. And his wife, of course, supported him, asked for, you know, he's been a bit depressed lately. He's not been feeling himself lately. He's been feeling everybody else. You know, anyway, she did stick up for him, but she's not anymore. She has divorced him now, I believe, or is in the process of divorcing him, because he lied to her, he lied to his family, He's just lied to everyone, and then initially tried to make the young lad that had, gone public. He tried to make him look bad, didn't he? Um, so he's a nasty piece of work. All he wanted to do was protect himself. Anyway, so then it turns out it's even deeper than that, of course. He's got these pictures on his phone, videos on his phone, that he'd kept, don't forget, as well. So he can't say that people had sent them in by mistake and he, didn't delete them. He still had them. He enjoyed them. Sorry, but he did. And I bet there's a lot more to this. I think that's probably the tip of the iceberg with Hugh Edwards. I don't think for a minute that what we know and what he's been caught out for is everything that he's done. I don't believe for a minute that he's only just started doing this at the age of 62 or whatever age he is, 60s. He's not just started doing that, he'll have been doing it for years, got away with it for years, and his fantastic job. So apparently he's got to pay back £400,000 of his salary, because so everyone was paying their BBC, TV license. Hugh was having a great time being paid all that money and abusing children. So how has he got off so lightly? How has he got off so lightly? A suspended sentence for having pictures of children, indecent pictures of children on your phone. You can get a suspended sentence. That's not much of a deterrent, is it, to other people? Though having said that, if you're Joe Bloggs and you do it, I'm sure you probably get a prison sentence. He's not getting a prison sentence because he's Prissy Hugh Edwards, Mr. Prissy Perfect from the BBC. It's just, why should he get away with it like that? Anyway, I'm going to read an article about him. I'll just take that off. I'll come back to chat, say hello to anyone else I might have missed. I can't remember if I've said hello to anyone, actually. So I'll start and say hello from the beginning. Hi, Jem. Yes, of course he should be on the sex offenders register for life. How is he not? He never changed from being a sex offender. He's 60 years old. He's never going to change. So what is it? In 2 years, he won't be interested in children anymore. Come on. Hi, David. Hi, Bertan. I look forward to seeing your photos, Burton. Hi, Fluffy. Yeah, it's the hypocrisy. Hi, Rio. I hope you're okay. Not seen you on here for a while. I hope everything's good with you. Okay, GBT. Hi. Oh, he paid for the photos. According to Fluffy, he paid for the photos but said the money was as a thanks. Well, that's exactly what you do, isn't it? I'll tell you what, tomorrow, if somebody sends me some child porn, I will send them some money and say, oh, it's just a thanks. Oh, my God. Look, does he even worse when he says things like that because he's still not owning what he's done. He's a tosser, literally, because he's not owning up to what he's done. He's still trying to skirt around it. Just horrible. I tell you, not only the BBC, but all the ITV, all of them, they're all mired in this kind of thing. I really do believe that, or they were. Of course, we started to hear about it with Jimmy Savile, and it's been like a bloody avalanche since then. How many more are there out there, and how many more will there be? These won't be the only ones. He won't be the last one. He's just the last one to get caught, but there'll be more. I think the BBC is full of it. I think that's as well why, they didn't take action quicker, because, you know, it was the parents of the young boy, wasn't it, who finally snapped, because they went to the BBC and told them what was going on, and the BBC promised, you know, that they would do something about it. And then, of course, the parents of the young lad, they saw him on the awards programme. They saw him on an awards programme picking up an award. And that's when they realised the BBC were not going to take any action. So that's when they went to the police. So, oh, you've been jogging and running. Oh, yeah, be careful, like David says. Oh, you go with Achilles. Hi, Christina. Yeah. Well, we'll see if we can find out how closely he's being monitored. I mean, hey, stop. I would imagine, you know, he's going to got the bloody 2 hours out there. Go in the bathroom. Go on. How shall I come and put you in there? I would imagine, you know, I don't know what sort of monitoring they do. You'll have to go and sign on the offenders register, I suppose, every now and again. I don't know what the conditions are. Some of the articles that I've got ready to go through, maybe they'll say what they are. I don't know. You know, they should be tagged, these people. You know, I mean, this is a serious offence. I bet if he robbed a bank, he would get more sentence. You know, well, he would have got a sentence. I mean, he's got a sentence, but it's a suspended sentence. I'm sure if he robbed a bank or did something financial, you know, he would get a longer sentence, as long as he wasn't part of the establishment. Because that's another thing, isn't it? You know, the establishment can rob people blind. You know, the PPE contracts, all those kind of things. Nobody gets a prison sentence, do they? You know, all the people that have made millions out of COVID, because they were the chumocracy, all mates of Boris Johnson, etc. They haven't. They're not going to go to prison. Michelle Moan's not going to go to prison, is she? But, you know, if Fred Bloggs down the road goes and robs a bank or something, they'll go to prison. So infuriating. I think the only thing I ever watch on BBC now is football. That's it. And I like watching the football on BBC because there's no adverts, of course. It's a bit annoying when you watch, you know, the matches, the England matches that are on. It's a bit annoying when there's adverts, but yeah, you know, just when I watch BBC News or anything, it's lost its credibility, hasn't it? And I don't know, there's not really much good on there anyway. The soaps are bloody rubbish. EastEnders is, I don't know how anyone could face watching it, or any of those soap operas. They're all terrible. You know, what sometimes there might be maybe a good documentary on or something like that. I don't know. But you know, just doesn't. Well, exactly, Rio. People have been put in prison for Facebook posts. Which, you know, don't get me wrong, that incitement to violence, I don't agree with that either. But I think if you know, if you had to sort of put it on, I think having indecent pictures of children on your phone is a bit more serious than even the inciting violence, isn't it? But that's the society that we've got in Britain. You know, the things that valued, the things that children are not valued, I don't think. Safety, women's safety, mental health, all those, they're not valued because there's no money in it. You know, the only things that are valued is anything that's got a monetary gain somehow in there. If it hasn't got a monetary advantage, it's not valued, in my opinion, anyway. Hi, Seffi. So I might have to put the dog in the bathroom because I can hear all the neighbours are outside. So she's going to get all the bloody chihuahuas out there. You know, they love standing outside my window and having a chat. Okay, so let's have a look at Sky News, what it's got to say about it. So yeah, I've spent most of my afternoon looking for this picture of Hugh Edwards' ass. You're probably glad that I didn't find it. I don't know where it is. I've got it somewhere. It was all over Twitter last year. Okay. So, former BBC presenter given suspended sentence over indecent images of children. So, he is told his reputation is in tatters as he is sentenced for 3 charges after he was sent 41 illegal images by a convicted P. So, these are the people that he mixes with. Ooh, it's like, now, somebody could say, like, I could be sat here now and somebody could just send me a load of pictures on the phone. What would I do? Well, I would go straight to the police. That's what I would do and say, look, I've been sent these images. I've no idea why. But he didn't, and he kept them. So he enjoyed them. He did enjoy them. Well, he can try and pretend he didn't, but he definitely did. And the thing is, who would send you those images? Nobody would send you those images unless they were sure that they would be welcomed. No just arbitrary person is just going to think, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll send these images to Hugh Edwards. Obviously they're going to think that they don't want to go get prosecuted or whatever. So, just not going to send those kind of pictures, unless you're sure that they're going to be welcome from the person that you're sending them to, because it's too dangerous otherwise, isn't it? For you, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you be just chatting to someone and then say, oh, I know, I'll just send them these paedophile images? Just wouldn't happen, because you have to suss someone. I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine what these pedos do is they suss people out, don't they? Make sure that they think the same way as them before they would send any photos from their phone. Good God. Anyway, let's have a look at this video. There might be a little advert. Now, something I noticed, and you see he's got this little suitcase here. He must have been expecting maybe a prison sentence, because where I noticed when he turned up in the taxi, he had he's got his little case there as if he's going on a Ryanair flight. So he must have been, maybe he's got, some home comforts packed in there, his pajamas or whatever, I don't know. But maybe he was expecting, maybe a custodial sentence, because otherwise, why would he take a little suitcase with him? It looks like he's off to Ibiza. And that's another thing. So he's been protected by the police, isn't he, and everything. Would normal people who had gone, I suppose maybe there wouldn't be all the people there that were there for him going to court. But, he's got protection. I don't know. Just feels like, I don't know what the answer is, or what he should have got. I don't know. Maybe it is enough, the punishment he's got, because he's, you're not going to get another job in television again, is he? And how's he going to make a living from now if he hasn't got money saved up? And he's got to give £400,000 back to the BBC. Will he ever give it? Has he got it to give? Because although he's been earning loads of money for years, you live up to your means, don't you? He's probably been living up to his means. He's probably now got paid money for his wife, etc. So he's probably not particularly well off financially now, unless he's a saver and he managed to save loads of money, unless he's got property that he can sell. I mean, he's not going to be, living on the street, but obviously he's not as well off as he was. Dear me. And the youngest, of course, was 7. They're not like, I mean, it'd be awful whichever child it is, but you know what I mean. There's older children, like teenagers or whatever. But 7 years old, I mean, come on. Anyway, Hugh Edwards has been spared jail for accessing indecent images of children as young as 7. The former BBC presenter was sentenced at Westminster Magistrates Court in London after he pleaded guilty to 3 counts of making indecent images of children. So making indecent images, I mean, that's different from receiving, surely. And the court heard how he paid up to £1,500 to a P who sent him 41 illegal images between December 2020 and August 2021, and 7 of them were of the most serious type. Gosh, he looks pretty scary on there, doesn't he? Looks actually quite sort of evil on there. That's obviously the real Hugh, isn't it? The Hugh Edwards that we've seen on telly and thought was, seemed like a nice guy. He's not. So of those images, the estimated age of most of the children was between 13 and 15, but one was aged between 7 and 9. So does that mean they don't know who the people were? I mean, who are these poor kids? Who are they? Where are they? Sentencing him, Chief Magistrate Paul Goldspring told Edwards his reputation is now in tatters and called his crimes extremely serious offences. The disgraced broadcaster held his hands together and leaned forward throughout the hearing as he was handed 6 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years. So yeah, it's only 6 months anyway. So not only it's suspended, but it's 6 months. As part of his sentence, he must he's 63. He must attend a sex offender treatment program and 25 rehabilitation sessions. He's also required to sign the sex offenders register for 7 years. Why only 7 years? Why not for the rest of his life? Is he really going to change now at 63 years old? And he's got to pay £3,128 in costs and a victim surcharge. Following the sentencing, a BBC spokesperson said, "We're appalled by his crimes. He's betrayed not just the BBC, but audiences who put their trust in him." No, I don't think they ever do change. Don't think they ever do change. I thought they'd sort of prove that now. Hi, Heather. I thought they'd more or less proved now that, or decided now that these kind of offenders can't be changed. I follow one of the people I follow on Twitter, Jennifer Coffindaffer, and she used to work for the FBI. And she always says that they cannot change. It's more or less accepted now. They just can't change. So what's the point in trying to change him? I hope well, he got an OBE earlier this year. Well, I hope they're going to take the OBE. I hate the honours system as well. That's another thing of little bugbear of mine. I don't like the honours system. Some people do, you know, I do read sometimes about people receiving honours, and they do deserve it, you know, people. But what did Hugh you know, really, Hugh Edwards has received an OBE then, has he, for having a really good job? You know, what has he done? He's done his job and he's been paid really well for it for years. So he doesn't need an OBE, does he? It's not something he's done. You know, I don't mind seeing OBEs go to people who have done a lot for charities and really sort of put themselves out. But seeing them go to people like him. Anyway, so prosecutor Ian Hope told the court he had been assessed as posing a medium risk of causing serious harm to children. Oh my God, a medium risk. And he was just given a 6 months suspended sentence. So if you're high risk, you just get a 12-month suspended sentence then. They don't care about children, do they? Anyway, the newsreader was sent the illegal images by convicted P, Alex Williams, over WhatsApp. I mean, just the stupidity of it as well. You know, you just think, oh, there he is. You know, he's Hugh Edwards. He's on. Did he really think these would never come out? You know, loads of things come out on WhatsApp from WhatsApp all the time, don't they? See his sense of, I don't know, sense of superiority, sense of, oh, you know, nobody will ever catch me or touch me. That's like revolting as well, isn't it? He's just so certain of his own superiority, his own untouchableness. Wouldn't anyone, if somebody sent you pictures, well, you just can't imagine it happening, can you, unless you're in those circles. But I'm trying to think of it like an analogy. You know, if somebody, you know, I'm one of those people that when I'm driving my car and I see a police car behind me, I start panicking, even though there's nothing. You know, I know my insurance is paid, I know my car tax is paid, I'm not doing anything wrong. I just like basically shit myself when I see the police. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And you feel uncomfortable, don't you, until they've gone, because you're thinking, oh God, you know, and you start thinking about, oh, is my car tax up to date? Did I pay my insurance? Is everything, you know, when's my, because here in Spain it's called an ITV, like the MOT. You start thinking about it all, and then you think, why is that police car following me? You know, I'm one of those people that feels guilty when I haven't done anything. So if I had actually done something, I wouldn't be able to sleep. You know, it'd be like, he's bloody slept well. He's had a great life. He's not worried about any of it. He's just gone along, done his thing, commenting on the Queen's funeral, this, that, and the other. Oh, thank God the Queen is dead. She'd probably be turning in a grave, because I think she quite liked him. Oh my God. So it's like Rolf Harris, isn't it? You know, oh God. Is there any of these that aren't actually P's? No, so I'm starting to feel like that a bit. Is there anybody in television who isn't a P? Maybe it'd be quicker to find the ones that aren't, rather than, you know, there's so many that are. Maybe it'd be quicker and less time consuming to just try and find the ones that aren't. Are there any? And do, you know, because they always come out and say, don't they, afterwards, other celebrities, oh yeah, there was rumours, you know, there was rumours about this and blah, de, blah, de, blah. Why didn't they say it at the time? You know, like with Jimmy Savile. Oh yeah, there was always rumours. Nobody said anything till he was dead. You know, nobody's got any cojones Nobody's got any balls to actually come out and say what's going on. Is it because they're all involved in it as well? Anyway, he was charged in relation, Williams was charged in relation to his WhatsApp chat with Edwards, and he was convicted of 7 offences following an investigation by South Wales Police, receiving a 12-month suspended sentence. Yeah, so he got a 12-month suspended sentence. Another suspended sentence, though. So the court heard, honestly, this knocks me sick. Horrible, horrible men. The court heard one WhatsApp exchange in which Williams had offered Edwards naughty pics and vids, adding that they were young looking. Edwards twice told him to go on, and Williams sent a Category A moving image, the most serious category, showing a male child aged around 7 to 9, the hearing was told. So he told him to go ahead and send the photos. You know, he can't pretend that they were sent to him involuntary. He told the guy to go ahead and send him the photos. On asking for more images, Williams told Edwards he was not sure if he would like them as they were illegal, to which the newsreader responded, okay, don't. So, you know, wouldn't like them because they were illegal, but not because they're children in compromising positions and it's disgusting. No, not because of that, just because it's illegal, not because he thinks it's just wrong per se. Awful. So the final indecent image was sent in August 2021, a Category A film featuring a young boy, with Williams telling Edwards the child was quite young looking, and he had more images that were illegal. And the images involved in Edwards' case included 7 Category A images, 12 Category B images, and 22 Category C images. The court heard that Edwards had told his probation officer that his offending arose out of his fixation on online communications of an sex nature, his poor mental health, using alcohol, and the deterioration of his marriage. Oh, so it's all his wife's fault. It's his wife's fault. It's alcohol's fault. It's mental health's fault. It's not his fault. No. Nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with him. About, you know, the deterioration of his marriage. Well, I bet she was a bit pissed off to see that. She probably didn't even know that their marriage was deteriorating. Hi, Annie. You know, hi, Wesley. Just ridiculous. Oh, it was your brother that got the OBE. Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough, Heather. Fair enough. Okay. So it was your brother that got. Well, congratulations to your brother. This is what I mean. Don't mind real people getting them if they've done, you know, done good things. Having said that, I would do away with all of them, to be honest. I don't believe in the honour system. Don't believe in it. So, yeah, so that was the fault of it. Online communications, poor mental health, alcohol, and the deterioration of his marriage. That's why he did it. So the hearing was told of Edwards' long-standing mental health struggles. Oh, God, this just drives me. How many people have got long-standing mental health issues? Loads. They don't do things that they've got to stop using this as an excuse for doing things. You know, just they should be just admitting that they're an absolute twonk. Just, it's an insult to people with mental health issues, I think. And also how he'd been diagnosed with arteriosclerosis, a vascular. So what's that got to do with it? A vascular disease which causes the gradual hardening of the arteries So it's because of that, is it, as well? Because of that, honestly, if he really expects us to believe that he's only just started doing this, he's just, I don't believe that for a minute. He's probably got away with it for years. And Mr. Hope noted that the effect of these conditions includes impact on an impairment of mood, behaviour and judgment. Well, I'm sorry, I can feel a swear word coming on. That's just ridiculous. So the court heard that Hugh Edwards is an inpatient at a private hospital. Oh, so he's still in hospital, apparently. A betrayal of trust. Edwards' barrister, Philip Evans QC, had made submissions on the ex-newsreader's behalf, saying his client did not get any gratification. Oh, come on. Saying that his client did not get any gratification from the indecent images. Oh my God. Well, he's not going to go on there and say, oh, yeah, I had a great time, went through a whole box of tissues, is he? He's like, he's not going to say that. Mr. Evans said the money sent to Williams by Edwards was certainly not for the indecent images. Oh, no, of course it wasn't. And pointed out that Williams sought out Edwards rather than the other way round. And the barrister said the former newsreader had no memory of viewing any particular images. So on top of everything else, he don't remember them either. He doesn't remember them. So he can't be guilty, can he? Because he just doesn't remember. Calling the media coverage of the case extraordinary. Oh my God. I think he's done really well. As soon as he said his wife came out and said he was feeling suicidal, the media left him alone instantly. Oh my God, he's got away with murder with this. How dare he say that? He's hardly been in the media, only when he's gone to court. Mr. Evans said Edwards wanted to apologise to the court and express how profoundly sorry he is. Sorry, yeah, he's got that. The only illness he's got is that court-out-itis. It's amazing how many people suffer from that. Court-out-itis. He's profoundly sorry that he's been caught. He's not, do you think if he hadn't got caught, he'd still be doing it now? He'd still be doing it. Good God. Anyway, the barrister said that Edwards recognises the repugnant nature and the hurt done to those who appear in the images, and for his part in it, he apologises sincerely and makes clear he has the utmost regret. He also said that Edwards recognises he has betrayed the priceless trust placed in him, damaged his family, and is truly sorry he's committed these offences. Again, he's sorry he's been caught out-itis. He's not sorry about the things he did. He's been doing them for years. He would carry on doing them. That is just rubbish. Delivering his sentence, the judge said that Edwards would be particularly vulnerable if he was given a custodial sentence, both from attack from others and as a suicide risk. Well, how is he more vulnerable than anybody else who goes to prison? Any child lover who goes to prison is vulnerable because they're likely to get attacked by the other prisoners. I suppose because he's famous, that means anyone who's famous, because they're particularly vulnerable, they don't have to go to prison. God. There he is in his glory days. His phone was vibrating as he was talking on there with some messages coming through. Good God. He referred to a report which described Edwards' psychologically challenging upbringing with a father who was highly regarded publicly. Oh, with a father who was highly regarded publicly, but who was perceived to behave monstrously within the family. So who's his father then? Let's have a look. Was he famous too? I don't know who he was. Oh, Hugh Edwards' monstrous father, Hewell. Let's have a look at that. So apparently his father was monstrous, and they're going to talk here about his childhood. Hugh Edwards' father, Hewell Teefy Edwards, was referred to as monstrous by a judge as the BBC presenter was sentenced. Chief Magistrate Paul Golding quoted an expert who spoke about the impact that Edwards' childhood had on his self-esteem. So they read from a report, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Edwards is a complex individual with a psychologically challenging upbringing in which his relationship with his father was particularly challenging and probably damaging psychologically. So the restrictive, puritanical, but often hypocritical background of growing up in the particular cultural milieu of South Wales with a father who was highly regarded and lauded outside the family, but was perceived as behaving monstrously within the family. So what did he do? Created both an enduring cognitive dissonance and low self-esteem compounded by a sense of being inferior by not getting into Oxford and going to Cardiff instead. And then being something of an outsider at the BBC, because at the BBC they're all public school boys, aren't they? They've all been to Oxford and Cambridge, and they've all, done horrible things with pigs' heads and God knows what, like politicians as well. Now, that's made me even angrier, that, because if he thought his father brought him up as being, restrictively, puritanically, growing up in this cultural milieu of South Wales, well, why was he going out making all programmes about how bloody brilliant it is? If it wasn't brilliant, he was making programmes about, what a pillar of the church he was and how great the church were and this, that and the other. But why was he doing that if it was so terrible? It's all cojones. All of it is cojones. It's just a way of getting out. So here he is, Hewell Teefy Edwards, the father of Hugh Edwards. And he was an academic, historian and politician who was passionate about the Welsh language. He died in January 2010 at age 66. That's quite young these days, isn't it? An academic and broadcaster who became a prominent Welsh nationalist and represented Plaid Cymru as a candidate in 2 Westminster elections, first in Llanelli in 1983 and then in Carmarthen in 1987. He also served as a Plaid community councillor in Llangennech, Carmarthenshire and on Dyfed County Council. He was born in Aberrath and he attended university in Aberystwyth, and he later taught Welsh at Gar Grammar School in Pontycymer, where he met Hugh Edwards' mother, Erona. They had 2 children. He went on to become a lecturer in Welsh literature at University College of Swansea. He continued lecturing and writing books after retiring in 1995. He specialised in the history and development of Welsh language literature and became an expert on the cultural significance of the festivals. Well, I'll tell you what, then that's his reputation down the drain as well, isn't it? Of course, he can't defend himself because he's dead. Despite never winning a parliamentary seat, his work involved raising awareness around Welsh language rights. So he's probably some sort of hero in Wales, like, of course, Hugh Edwards probably was as well. One of the themes of his political activism was his desire to see the Welsh language not only preserved but actively promoted in everyday life. Hugh Edwards previously spoke about his father, saying he could be quite sharp, and the fact he wasn't home that often was a challenge for Mam. Well, if he's such a twonk as he's making him out to be, wouldn't he be glad he wasn't home very often? And if he was such a horrible person, I'm sure his mum would have been glad he wasn't home very often. He was always out lecturing all the time, doing evening classes and so on. We weren't that close, to be honest, not like me and Mam, because Dad wasn't that present when I was growing up. And Edwards' sister, Amania, has also spoken of their relationship previously, saying Hugh and Dad were very similar in a lot of ways. They could capture the audience's attention with just a couple of words, but they wouldn't always get on, and I think that was to a degree due to the fact they were so similar. I thought he was a monster. There's nothing that they're saying here that he's, because he wasn't there very much, doesn't make him a monster, does it? He said he's a monster. What did he do that made him a monster? Oh, remember me and Mam would sit next to the dinner table year over the years, and the two of them would start lecturing at one another. For God's sake, wanted to have been in my house when I was growing up. If you think that, what does that make him a monster then? Because they were lecturing. We would start thinking, here we go again, another lecture over Sunday dinner. Oh my God, how, God, those poor kids. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, how awful, another lecture over a Sunday dinner. Is that the worst thing that happens here? Hugh Edwards discussed his reconciliation with his father before his death, which marked his 60th birthday. Oh, so he did reconcile with him. Yes, he could be very witty and he could laugh. He could be sharp-tongued at times, and if you were on the receiving end of that, it wasn't very fun. But it doesn't make him a monster, really, does it? What did he do that made him a monster? That's what he did. Nothing. So he was a bit strict. He was probably a product of his time, like, most of our dads were. Sorry, I'm not having this at all. This is ridiculous. What do you all think about? I'm going to come back to the chat. Hi, Moonbeam. Yeah, well, there's nothing in there to say that he's a monster, is it? There's nothing. What? Because they lectured each other over dinner. Come on, is that the worst thing that happened? Absolute load of rubbish, that, I think. And exactly how many people are literally dragged up and don't turn into peas or do anything terrible. And in true crime, if you watch a lot of true crime, which I unfortunately do, how many times they come from brilliant families? The worst offenders often come from families, where they've had the best upbringing. Now, it sounds like he had an uneasy relationship with his father, probably because they were both alike. But there's nothing there anyway that would say to me that his father was a monster, or it's, I'm just gobsmacked. That make him a monster because he used to argue with him over Sunday dinner. For what a load of rubbish. Gosh almighty. Just ridiculous. And that's it. I think all our dads of that time were strict. My dad was strict, but he wasn't a monster. I won't refer to, a monster is him. He's a monster. Well, I hope his children are all right. I just hope his children are all right. He's got 5 children himself. Would they describe him as a monster? You know, did he treat them okay? You know, it's like, it's exactly, Seffi, it's called life. You know, you did used to get that, wait till your dad gets home, wait till your dad, there was like even a cartoon, wasn't there? Wait till your father gets home. Because you did get that bit. It was like, well, I did. And it, you know, because my mum didn't work full time. In fact, she gave up work quite early. And so it was all, wait till your dad gets in, I'm going to tell him what you're doing. You know, because we were more scared of my dad than we were of my mum. You know, because he was stricter. But yeah, but not like monster. There's a big difference between having a strict father and a monster for a father. You know, so that is a load of cojones. He's blamed his dad. He's blamed his wife, the deterioration of his marriage. He's blamed online communications. He's blamed the illness he had with the hardening of the arteries. So it's all their fault, but it's not his fault. Not his fault. He's truly sorry. He's truly sorry. You know, his dad there on that picture. He's a monster because he used to argue with him over Sunday dinner. Bloody ridiculous. David, I expect Hugh's right back up to, he'll never change. You know, he'd be talking to, he's not going to be, well, I believe he might still be in hospital, I think they said there. So maybe he's not doing it at the moment. And he's got to do all these rehabilitation things. But look at, what's his name, you know, who kidnapped Jamie Bulger. He's been given 2 chances, you know, and he's back in prison again. He'll always end up going back to prison because I mean, now the other one, as far as we know, has not reoffended. So it's, I get mixed up with their names. Which one's reoffended? Is it John Venables who has reoffended and the other one who hasn't? I can't remember which way round it is, but one of them hasn't. So maybe he didn't have it in him in the same way. But I think it's John Venables. He's the one, he's reoffended twice and he's back in prison now, isn't he? You know, he'll probably get released again with a whole cost the taxpayer a fortune, give him another whole new identity, let him out on the unsuspecting public who won't know who he is, you know, and then he'll end up doing exactly the same thing again. You know, I don't think they will stop. They can't stop. You know, I literally do believe that. I don't know what's the answer to what to do with them unless you give them like chemical castration, but that still wouldn't stop them looking at pictures, probably. Would it? So, what is the answer? I don't know. I don't know. So, let's just go back. I was on there, wasn't I? So, going back to the career thing, the Sky News article, this report also outlined the here we go, blaming the wife now again. The report outlined also the breakdown of Edwards's marriage to TV producer Vicky Flynn, saying the broadcaster did not consider his bisexuality to be an excuse for his infidelity. I wonder if he'd ever told her that he was bisexual. Doubt it. I doubt it. Well, she's all in the TV world, isn't she? You know, she'd probably seen things happen with Jimmy Savile, gone back to Hugh Edwards and said, oh, isn't this terrible about Jimmy Savile or whatever? And he's probably, oh, yeah, it's terrible, you know, and then gone off on his phone or gone off on his computer. You know, I don't know how she'll feel about this after now she's stuck up for him. And when she stuck up for him, she didn't know about these, because we didn't know about all this on his phone until recently when it came to the court case. Now, I would hope he would have prepared her for it before she read it in the newspapers or saw it on the telly. But she had spoken up for him, hadn't she? I bet she won't speak up for him now. Anyway, so he was 4 decades at the BBC, so he's had a great time. Same as Savile. You know, they've had a great time. He's been all right. He's been caught out now, but he's got away with it for 40 years. So he was amongst the broadcasting teams covering historic events, with his most high-profile moment coming in September 2022 when he announced the late Queen's death. Now, we were watching that. We were sat here actually watching that, and you could tell that something was going on, you know, because they were just saying, like they'd been, so, you know, what's his name? Everyone was going off to Balmoral, weren't they? And you know, and William was flying over, and you know, it was obvious something was going on. And Hugh Edwards, he was sat there, and then one it went off to like a video, and when it came back, he had a black tie on. So he'd been off and changed into a black tie, so we knew something was going on. Last week, BBC chairman Samir Shah admitted that Edwards had damaged the reputation of the corporation. Well, not really, Samir, because you haven't got any reputation. You haven't had a reputation for quite a long time, to be honest. And this has worsened it, I think, but it was already crap, wasn't it? Honestly, why people pay their BBC licence, I don't know. And it should be free for pensioners. You know, again, we come back to this pensioners thing. You know, if they're getting their, let's say they could make it easy and say anybody who's getting their heating allowance should get a free TV license, because they've got nothing, sometimes they've got nothing else to do if they can't get out the house and what have you. So they shouldn't be having to pay for the telly. But mind you, I think even pensioners these days, they probably think, oh, I'm not watching that crap. The BBC is attempting to recover it says here 200,000 in pay from Edwards, who continued to be paid a salary for around 5 months after the corporation discovered he'd been arrested in November 2023. Edwards resigned from the BBC in April, citing medical advice. And according to the Crown Prosecution Service, making an indecent image has been broadly interpreted by the courts. It can range from opening an attachment to an email, what that means you've made an image, containing an image, or to accessing pornographic websites in which indecent photos of children appear by way of an automatic pop-up mechanism. Surely, I just can't believe that all these tech giants, you know, they can, God, you know, on YouTube, you can't say the word P without the popping up and demonetizing you or whatever. Can it really be that these things can be allowed to happen? You know, why aren't they controlled? You know, why aren't they controlled? I don't see that it would be difficult to control them if they could, you know, if things like Twitter and YouTube, etc., or X, can control what people say, because certain words they pick up on and, you know, come right down on you. Surely they can, you know, clamp down on a bloody a site where indecent photos of children appear. And, you know, I've got to say, I mean, I'm obviously looking at the wrong sites, but have you ever, I have never been on any site, and I have been sometimes on sites that are a little bit risque for educational purposes or research purposes, but I've never had a child porn thing pop up, ever, in my whole life. So why, you know, you must have searched something to do with it, maybe, for it to pop up. Or does it pop up? It doesn't pop up, does it? You've got to be looking for it, surely. Anyway, in the case of Edwards, he received the illegal images as part of a WhatsApp conversation. And Mr. Evans said his client had not created the images in the traditional sense of the word. Hugh, I don't know. Now I wonder what he's doing now in his life. Has he come out openly now to be bisexual, or is he saying he's gay? Will he be looking for a partner? You know, how are his children feeling about it all? What do they think of him as a father? So he's described, they're describing his father as a monster. And from what I can see, or, there might be more to it. I don't know the full story behind his childhood, but why is he a monster? Just because he was a bit strict, or, oh my God, I mean, my dad, I was just thinking about it saying, oh, he never felt he lived up to his dad's expectations or whatever. I think they were just a bit like that in those days. My dad was very pessimistic about things. My brother always used to say, oh God, just once I'd like to go and talk to Dad and say, oh, I'm going to do this, Dad. And him say, oh, that's great. Yeah, go and do it, But like my dad would always go, oh, have you thought about this? And have you thought about that? And you've got to be careful. He was like that. That was part of his personality. And I do think, again, I think that was a bit of a product of his time. He was quite pessimistic. He was quite, he really was, not only with my brother, with me too, when I think about it now, some things. But the thing is, I just got used to him, and now he was. And I used to say to my brother, look, that's the way he is. It's the same with everyone. He's not picking you out. That's just how he is. You won't change him, so you just have to just laugh at it, get used to it. And then, we did laugh at it in the end. But yeah, maybe he was looking for approval from his dad and he never got it. But he's not the only one. That doesn't turn you into a P, because your dad doesn't give you approval for it because you went to Cardiff rather than bloody public school or whatever. I don't know, rather than Cambridge or Oxford. That is not abuse, So he's just trying to make it look like he's not as bad as he is. He's the one who did it, not his wife, not his dad, not his mental illness, not that block hardening of the arteries. None of that did it. He did it. And he should, this is what drives me mad these days, or any time. You have to take responsibility at least for the things you did. We've all done bad things, maybe not as bad as him, but we've all done things that we're probably a bit not proud of, or we wish we hadn't done. But you have to, at least, the only thing you can do, you can't bring back the past, but you can take ownership of what you've done and say, look, yeah, I did that, it was wrong, but I did it. You can do that. You can take responsibility. I just feel like we live in an age where nobody takes responsibility for anything. It's mental health fault, or it's the government's fault, or it's this fault or that fault. You've got to take responsibility, individual responsibility for your own actions. You can't rely on the state to do things for you. You've got to get on with things yourself. You've got to take responsibility. Annie, was your dad the same? Yeah. He's like, it is how dads were then. My daddy, but we used to just laugh about it because it was just the way he was. I never, he's did just the way he was, but he wasn't a bad person or anything. And we used to argue all the time. We used to argue about politics. We used to, because that's where I got my interest in politics from him. We'd have discussions and they'd get lively, and but those are nice memories that I have of him now, where they weren't like she's saying, no, they argued over the lunch table or whatever. Well, that's we would do that. We would get it, not over the lunch table, because I didn't sit down when I was younger. You get to a point where you don't want to sit down at the table, do you? You want to eat your dinner in front of the telly. Or nowadays they eat it in the room, don't they? With their computers or whatever. But we would often get into lively debates and everything. But I don't think of that as a negative. It doesn't make my dad a monster. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed debating. Surprised he never blamed El Nino. Yeah. Oh God, it was like, yeah, it was, oh, just crazy. So I'm trying to think. So who else's fault? It's probably the Queen's fault for dying. Because if the Queen wouldn't have died, he wouldn't have been so depressed. So I'm surprised he didn't bring the Queen into it. You know, it was the detrimental effects of commenting on her funeral that made him do it. God, I don't know, crazy. Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading. Hi, Tom. Well, yeah, Rolf Harris, he was like everybody's dad, wasn't he? I always thought of him, to me, he reminded me of my dad. You know, so it was a big shock when with Rolf Harris. You know, I like watching him because he was this is what I mean. It's all these people from those times. There was an innocence about them, but now it turns out they weren't innocent at all. It was all, you know, just better now when people are a bit more, um, you know, I don't know. I just feel that everybody I used to like when I was a child has turned out to be a P. So, you know, I think, is it my judgment? You know, I'm frightened to make a judgment on anybody. You know, because I think, oh God, if I like them, there must be a P. I don't know. Okay, so I just thought I'd come and talk to you about Hugh. We can have our shared outrage as to a very light sentence that he's received. Will he pay the money back to the BBC? I mean, the BBC, is there a way back for the BBC? You know, they're in absolute crisis. And every time, you know, every time a renowned celebrity of theirs goes down this road, you know, Hugh Edwards, one of their beacons, you know, he's gone. Who's left? They're probably frightened to have male presenters now. In case something, next thing it'd be a female one or whatever. Joe, there's sometimes people put comments, you know, if I make a video about Hugh Edwards, some people quite often are in denial about him. It's like, oh, I remember when it was just before his trial, people making comments, leaving comments. Well, shouldn't we, you know, it's innocent till proven guilty and stuff like that. But the thing is, I'm not being funny, but you knew he was guilty because there's no way that the Crown Prosecution Service was going to bring a case against Hugh Edwards unless they were absolutely certain there was enough evidence for them to win that case. They're just not going to do it. It's like with Cliff Richards. You know, maybe he's innocent, or maybe they just haven't got enough evidence. They're never going to take Cliff Richard to court and charge him until they're 100% certain that that case can be successful. Now, no doubt, if nothing comes for Cliff Richards, after he's left this world, then maybe things come out then, because people get loose lip then. As Mark Williams Twonk said, you can't get someone can't sue you after they're dead. So it makes you wonder if, you know, when Cliff Richards does shuffle off this mortal coil, are there going to be loads of things coming out about him? Okay, so as always, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time with me to discuss this. And, you know, it's good to, for me, and hopefully for you, it's good to discuss it between ourselves, because we know, you know, there is a sort of sense of outrage about this thing is that Hugh Edwards, he can't complain. It's because he was so popular. You build yourself up so high, then you're going to fall even lower, aren't you? You know, harder. You fall harder because you are so popular. You set yourself up as, you know, your saintly father of five, you know, churchgoer who's going around talking about religion, etc. Set yourself up, and you're going to get a fall if your hands aren't clean, and you're not, you know, as innocent as you're painting yourself to be. Sooner or later, you're going to get a fall, and he's fallen from grace, and he can blame it on whatever he likes. You know, his wife, it's the this, it's the that. It's not. It's him. It's him. Take responsibility, Hugh, for your own actions. You know, it's wrong what you did. We just say, you know, there's no point trying to blame your dad and everything. It don't sound to me like your dad was a monster. But anyway. Okay, so I'm off. I'm sure I will see you at some point tomorrow. Don't forget it's members live tomorrow night. So why not think about becoming a member? If you're not already a member, come and join us in the live tomorrow night. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to hit the like, and if you're not subscribed, why not? Remember to subscribe. That's free. So hitting the like button and subscribing is free. So I hope you'll do that, help out my channel, and I'll see you really soon, as always. Oh, and don't forget to keep sending the photos of your animals. As I say, I've got some lovely photos and videos. I'm really happy with them, and the more the merrier. So I'll see you really soon in the next video, and until then, chatters, may your God go with you. Thank you so much.